Okay, hi everyone. So in this tutorial, I just want to recap what we did in class today, particularly how we can use Blockly to prototype basic movement, but then how we can transform that movement in Python and also work on it at home and preview some of your own ideas and even add in data or more types of interesting movement. So I've just opened up the project that was done by one group last week. And this was the flag waving exercise we did. I've got my robot here set to simulated, so we can have a look at what that code looked like. I might just go back and I'll just turn down the repeats because we don't need to watch it 10 times. 3 is fine. And let's just have a preview of this. So if I go into control, make sure I'm on simulated, press run, and we'll see here, this is a flag waving movement that was prototyped by the group. It's got some nice features. We talked about what's called a blend radius here. And what the blend radius does is if you imagine that the robot arm is moving between these 4 points, it can either go directly to each point, which would result in a more jagged movement, or it can smoothly pass through a radius close to each point, which will give us a smoother movement. You can think about it like interpolation, and it will give us some of the forces of inertia that we need for the flag to sort of wave. So it was a nice piece of trial and error for the team yesterday. I'm going to make an important note here that one of the instincts in class yesterday was if something doesn't work, either the robot is broken or let's just put in some AI generated code. And to me, that's not the approach we want to do. If we don't know why something's not working, swapping out AI generated code is just replacing one unknown problem with another potentially unknown problem. What I highly recommend if something isn't working is to start completely fresh, especially when you're just learning, with simple motion and see if you can get a direct connection between what you're putting in and what the robot is doing. If you start with something complex and you don't know why it's going wrong, just replacing it with AI generated code is making the problem even harder to see. Okay, so back to the exercise. If we look at this here, if I switch over to the Python IDE, this is the code that Blockly has sort of generated. From the interface, we've actually ended up with this. And what I'm going to show you in this tutorial is how we can take this code, edit it on our computer, preview it on our computer, and start to do interesting things with it. So we could just do something as simple as copy it all, Control C, and if I just open like a text file, like a notepad file, I'll just make a new tab, and I'll just paste that, and I'll just save it as, I'll put it in my own folder here, and I can call it like flag wave original motion.py. So I'll just make sure it's not, I'll just say all files, and that's just going to save it as a Python file. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that file and I'm going to start playing around with it in a Python environment, which I'll show you now. Okay, hi everyone. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how you can edit and visualize the Python code from Blockly on your own machine and start to do interesting things with it. If you don't have it already, I'd like you to download Visual Studio Code. That's the Python editing software that we're going to use. So if I jump into Visual Studio Code, it'll just look like this. It might have a blank piece of code there, that's fine. In my Finder, I've just copied and pasted this flag wave original motion.py. So if I go into Visual Studio Code, I'm just going to open that Python file. So there it is. That's what we exported from Blockly. Now the other piece of code we're going to need, which I'll give you, is just this thing here called XArm5.py. And that's just something I vibe coded with AI. That's what's going to help us visualize our code. It's important that both of these Python files are in the same folder, because when we open this one, this is what's going to make our simulation, and it needs to know where to find this data. If you want to see it, you can open this one here as well. If we just go open, now in that folder, I'll grab that XArm5.py. So now they're both open. Now, if we run this now, it won't work because it still thinks we're using the robot. So we just need to make two little changes. The first is these two things here. This is like working with the XArm. So we'll just temporarily comment these out just by pressing Shift 3 to add a little hash, and that just means those two lines of code are not running. The next thing we need to do is we just need to change this little bit of code here. So I'll give you this as well. We're just going to swap it out for this block of code, and this will say, are we running in the lab, yes or no? If no, if it's false, then we use the simulator. And if it's true, then it would run on the robot. So it's just giving a little bit of extra functionality to our Python. So I'll just copy that, and I'm just going to highlight this whole section here, press delete, and then paste, and we've got that new section. And then I'll just hit, Control S to save it. So now, if I run this, what I should get is this. So it's a little bit abstract, but basically it's showing us where our flag waving is in space. It's nowhere near as good as the simulation we see in Blockly, because in Blockly, it's actually calculating what we call the kinematics of like how the joints are moving, whether there'd be any collision, basically if it's safe to run on the robot. But at least here, we can have a bit of an idea of what that motion is. And so therefore, if you're seeking to change it on your computer, you can start to play around with the data and just test it to see what it looks like. Okay, so what if we wanted to start changing the data ourselves? So instead of using the exact movement that we made in Blockly, what if we want to start changing it? Well, this is where you can start to be very careful with your use of AI. So before I said that I don't want you to just put in complete AI-generated code where you have no idea what it does, because I think that could be quite dangerous. But I do want you to be able to use AI to start to give yourself more control over what you want to do. So the best way I would recommend to start in your code is to look at this section. There'll be a section called Run here, Robot Main Run. And this is where we would be changing our motion. So what I've done here is I've just generated something different. I did this with AI, and what I did is I gave the AI the code that we already have, and I described what robot we're using and all of this sort of thing. And I said, okay, well, look at the motion I've got, and can we change it into something that is like a human heartbeat? Okay, so it's not like super interesting. And here, you might find ways where you can actually input real data, like a CSV file of a heartbeat. You could make this as sort of clever as you want it to be. But I just want to show you how we can change the code and put in something new. So here I've got this new run function. So I'm just going to copy all of that, Command C, and I'll just get my run section in my Python file. I'll just hold down Shift, and I'm just going to press Command V and replace it with the one I've just made. So now I've copied in this def run self, which is like my new block of code. And if I run that, we might just give it a second to work out what it's doing. It should give us a visualization of a totally different type of movement. Just give it a second. Okay, so here we go. So it's changed quite a lot. We can see that the range of our motion is totally different. And if I was sort of making my own artwork, I would probably go into more detail with the AI. I might be using real data. I might say, okay, I still want the range of motion to be larger. There's all sorts of changes here. But at least we can see that, okay, like that does look like some sort of motion that looks like it's in the similar sort of range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this Python file, and then I'll bring it back into the XArm and see if we can simulate it and see if it looks like it could be run on the robot. So let's do that. So I will, I'm just going to save my flagwave original motion.py, and then I'll just bring it over to the other computer. Okay, so we're back in the Blockly editor, and this time I'm just going to go over to the Python IDE, and I'm going to create a new project, and I'll just call it like Peter flag test February 2026, something like that. hit OK, and it'll just make like an empty Python file for me. So if I just jump into, this is the Python file that we were just playing with on our own computer. So I'll just copy all of that and I'll just pop it in. I'll just delete the default header there and I'll just paste all of that. Now, if you remember, we commented out a couple of functions that we need to bring back. So if we look up the top of the code, there's these two lines that need to import the correct Python libraries for the robot itself. So we just remove those hash symbols. So now those two lines are active. And we go right to the bottom and we find that bit where it says running in lab. And I'll just change that word false to true and save that. And make sure I'm on simulated robot. And I'll just press this green arrow here to run the script. And I'll press OK. And I'll switch over to my control. And we should see the motion that we've created in the script there. So that you can see it's very similar to what we saw in the Python visualization, but this time we can actually see it relative to the scale of the robot and it makes a bit more sense. We can also see it's like we predicted, it's not that interesting, but at least now we've built a connection between how we can edit the code ourselves and put in our own ideas. You can put in data sets. You can use AI to come up with all sorts of quite sophisticated things. And we can go from prototyping a basic script in Blockly, taking it out, editing it at home ourselves, and then bringing it back in and making sure we always test on the simulated robot first. And from the look of this test, I think I'd be perfectly happy to try that out on the real robot. Okay, I hope this is useful. Bye-bye.